let's get to what people are here for. Let's talk about the Class 5A rankings. We are, of course, unveiling the Class 5A rankings in Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the top 10s in each division. You can see expanded rankings at Texas or in the magazine, and then you will get computer rankings of every Texas high school football team. All 127 5A Division I teams and all 125 5A Division II teams at TexasFootball.com if you become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider. But first and foremost, let's get to our Class 5A Division I top 10. Number 10, the Birdville Hawks. Fresh off of an appearance in the state quarterfinals, the Birdville Hawks bring back a fair amount of that offense. A lot of fun offenses coming back, including running back Ladarius Mixon, one of the very best runners in the state. We've got high hopes for Coach Lon Holbrook's Hawks. Birdville clocks in at number 10 in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Number 9, a familiar name, Cedar Park. The Timberwolves, I think, had a year that was not up to their standards. Only 8-4, only 5-1 in district. End up falling short to Alvin Shadow Creek and the area around. But you doubt the Timberwolves at your own peril. Coach Carl Absek always has his team ready to go, and I feel like this is a bounce back year for them, especially with Ryder Hernandez, their quarterback, back in the mix. So, Cedar Park, number 9. Number 8, the first of the state semifinalists from last year. The San Antonio Wagner Thunderbirds, a team that ran roughshod through Region 4, looks very good again, especially that God, what is it? Is it a slot tee? Is it a?
I think it's just a
flex bone.
Flex bone.
It's a flex bone. But they got L.J. Butler, who's a 2,000-yard rusher, back in the mix. Some holes to fill defensively, but I think Wagner is the favorite to come out of Region 4. They start the year number 8 in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Going out east, number 7, the Lufkin Panthers. I think a year that they wish they could have progressed farther, a year where they came up short in the area round of Frisco Lone Star, but overall, a team that's chock full of dudes. They're going to have guys all over the field once again for Coach Todd Quick's Panthers. This is going to be a very, very good Lufkin squad. They check in at number 7 in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Number 6, staying out east, how about John Tyler? Cujo, I think, is back. This defense, I think, has a chance to hum under Coach Ricklin Holmes. This is a defense with 8 starters coming back from a team that very nearly and arguably should have knocked off Highland Park in the regional final. This is a team that I think has something to prove. I think Coach Ricklin Holmes would admit as much. This is a team that I think could be ready for prime time. John Tyler checks in at number 6 in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Into the top 5. Number 5. The state runner-up from a year ago, the Alvin Shadow Creek Sharks. This team, of course, has only lost one game in their history, and it was a state championship game to a team with more wins than any team in the state. But what Brad Butler has built there is really and truly remarkable. Our questions revolve around how they're going to replace some of their offensive weapons. But I will tell you, this defense looks really, really good, especially with Xavier Alford patrolling the secondary. Alvin Shadow Creek, after starting the year last year, I would need to look at where we ranked them to start the year last year. They will start the year number 5 in Dave Campbell's Texas Football in 5A Division I. Number 4, the Frisco Lone Star Rangers. Coach Jeff Rayburn is at it again with a whole new mix of playmakers offensively and what could be a very stout defense. This is a Frisco Lone Star team that I think got better as the year went on, and I think that they could be the kind of team that peaks once again starting the year and entering the playoffs in 2019. Frisco Lone Star, the number 4 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Number 3, the Richmond Foster Falcons, another team that I think started slow. The record's not going to wow you. They were just 9-5 a year ago, but they caught fire and took Alvin. 2 of those losses were to eventual state finalist Alvin Shadow Creek, including in the regional final. I really, really like what Richmond Foster's got cooking this year. I think that they've got a lot of weapons, especially they're very big and physical up front. I think it's going to be Shadow Creek and Foster for the Region 3 crown, and I think if you want to say those 2 are the favorites to make it to a state championship game, I would certainly hear you on that. Richmond Foster, number 3 in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Number 2, the Denton Ryan Raiders. This is a team that, look, the standard is set. They're 14-1 a year ago. They bring back Drew Sanders, one of the very best all-around athletes in the state of Texas, and they're hungry for another chance at a run to a state championship game. I think that this is a Ryan team that is stinging a little bit, and I think they want to prove that the past few years are not up to their standards. They'll have their chance. Denton Ryan starts year number 2 in Dave Campbell's Texas football. And the number 1 team in Class 5A Division I in Dave Campbell's Texas football, the Highland Park Scots. The 3-time defending champs are our pick to make it a 4-peat in 2019. And this is a team that is very odd because it's not your traditional Highland Park team. Highland Park is in many ways not predicated on superstars generally. They're one of those teams that tend to be greater than the sum of their parts. I would say that Shadow Creek was a similar team last year. They had some guys that kind of stand out now, but they were a team that I think if you talk to Coach Brad Butler, they were a team that worked because everyone worked together. Highland Park this year has superstars. They've got a superstar quarterback in Chandler Morris. They have a superstar defender in Prince Dorba. The questions for them are going to be rebuilding some offensive and defensive fronts, which is where they have traditionally been very, very good. But Highland Park, they need no introduction. And this year, they start the year number 1 in Dave Campbell's Texas football in 5A Division I. Now let's go to 5A Division II. Let's get to our 5A Division II rankings. Of course, the top 25 can be found at Dave in Texas in the new edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, which will hit store shelves in the first week of July, or you can order it now and get it mailed directly to you, potentially early, at texasfootball.com/insider. Number 10 in 5A Division II, the South Oak Cliff Golden Bears.
Yeah.
A year after running to a regional semifinal and came up short to Aledo, this is a South Oak Cliff team that I think is loaded for bear, especially in the secondary. One of the very best secondaries in the state, led by Jonathan Davis, the safety. This is going to be a very, very good South Oak Cliff team, a team to be reckoned with. South Oak Cliff begins the year number 10 in Dave Campbell's Texas football. Number 9, let's go out to the South Plains and talk a little bit about Lubbock-Cooper. The Pirates, after a tremendous run to a regional semifinal or regional final last year, are back and ready to roll. This is an offense that I think has a ton of weapons. I think Coach Catwinkle is going to have a lot of different playmakers to play with out there. But Lubbock-Cooper, the Pirates, start the year number 9 in Dave Campbell's Texas football. Number 8, back to the DFW Metroplex and the Frisco Reedy Lions. A historic year for them last year, running to a regional semifinal before losing to eventual state champion Aledo. This is a team that Coach Chad Cole is going to need to rebuild. This is a team that brings back just 6 starters offensive or overall. This is a team that I think has some holes to fill. But we think that the standard has been set at Reedy, that they expect to be in the mix for a region title. Frisco Reedy starts the year number 8 in Dave Campbell's Texas football. Number 7, the A&M Consolidated Lions. Tigers. Why did I say Lions? A&M Consolidated
You're
Tigers.
An idiot, that's why.
The A&M Consolidated Tigers. I think this is the year that it's been building towards for Coach Lee Fedora at A&M Consolidated. I think that he's got the weapons he wants. I think Bryant Darby is in for a breakout, kind of where he becomes a household name. This is a team with a lot of weapons, and I think the defense has a chance to be really special. A&M Consolidated starts the year number 7 in Dave Campbell's Texas football. The Tigers, not the Lions. It's a jungle cat. Number 6, the Manvel Mavericks. Manvel is a team that obviously needs no introduction at this point. I do think that a second year under the new coach, Kevin Hall, will be very big for them. But in the end, when I look at this is a team that does need to rebuild almost in their entire offense. They're bringing back just 1 starter on the offense. But tradition reigns there in Manvel, and I think that Hokahay is going to be back. I think that Manvel starts the year number 6 in Dave Campbell's Texas football. Number 5, the Huntsville Hornets. Talking with Coach Rodney Southern, he will tell you that not only do they feel like they have a team that is ready to contend for a Region 3 title, but beyond that the buzz is back in Huntsville. People are talking about football in Huntsville. There's a lot of expectations for this Huntsville Hornets team. We have very high expectations for them. That's why they start the year number 5 in Dave Campbell's Texas football. Into the top 4 we go of 5A Division II. The Marshall Mavericks. Even with a new coach in Jake Greedle, I don't think there's going to be much of a drop-off. I think this is going to be a team that is on a mission. Tons of playmakers all over the field, a ton of speed for Marshall. This is the team that every coach we talk to in 5A Division II, they've said they're worried about. Marshall is going to be very good, and that defense has a chance to be special, even under first-year coach Jake Greedle. I think the Mavericks have a chance to be special. That's why they start the year number 4 in Dave Campbell's Texas football. From a first-year coach to an infinity-year coach, number 3 in Dave Campbell's Texas football is Corpus Christi Cal Allen. The Wildcats, of course, made another run to a state semifinal and very nearly took down Fort Bend Marshall on the way. And look, this is a team that has the playmakers where you want them. They've got an outstanding running game. They've got a great linebacker by the name of Riggs Barrett, who could be in for a very big year. And they've got the all-time winningest coach in Texas high school football history in Phil Danaher. Corpus Christi Cal Allen begins the year as a favorite in Region 4, and they start the year number 3 in Dave Campbell's Texas football. Number 2, the Fort Bend Marshall Buffaloes. Look, when you make it to a state championship game for the first time, and you bring back your star quarterback in Malik Hornsby, and you bring back your stud running back, calling him a running back is not fair. Your stud do-it-all superstar in Devon Chan, you're going to get ranked, and you're going to get ranked really high. I think James Williams I think last year was just the start of what could be a very, very good run of years for Fort Bend Marshall. I think it continues in 2019. Fort Bend Marshall, the Buffaloes, start the year number 2 in Dave Campbell's Texas football. And the number 1 team in 5A Division II, we forgot to rank Aledo. Oh, my gosh. JK, they're number 1. The Aledo Bearcats are number 1 in Dave Campbell's Texas football, and I think it's easy to see why. Of course, going for their record 9th state championship. And much like Highland Park, this is... I write this in the 5A preview. I think there's a tendency to look at Aledo as monolithic, and that this is a team that it's the same team every year. Every year, it's the same team. Maybe some different parts here and there, but it's the same team. This is going to be a very different Aledo team. They have the stars back. They have Jake Bishop. They have Jason McClellan. They have JoJo Earl. But the things that have really made Aledo great, I think, are going to need to be rebuilt. The front 7 needs to be rebuilt. That offensive line, which I think was the dominant force in the state last year at any level, needs to be rebuilt. They have a coach in Tim Buchanan. It's a coaching change. How is that going to impact them? I'm kidding. Look, Aledo at this point needs no introduction. They are one of the most decorated programs in the state. They are our pick to win a record 9th state championship. The Aledo Bearcats start the year number 1 in Dave Campbell's Texas football in Class 5A Division II.